The biggest headline in the news right now for real estate is the NAR settlement. And what people are so concerned about is buyer representation and the risks that we could see possibly happen of buyers saying, you know what, I'm going to do this thing myself. I'm going to go buy a house all by myself without no agents because I don't want to pay any fees.
That is definitely the headline. And a lot of media outlets are getting it wrong. Surprise, surprise. But, you know, it could have buyers a little nervous based on the headlines of saying, well, I'm not going to be able to save enough money to put a down payment and pay my closing costs and pay an agent. I think I'm just going to have to do this myself.
Yikes.
And yikes.
We deal with people that have tried this in the past. You know, you have the for sale by owner, you have the buy without an agent people that have come through the office and done transactions. What's your experience with those folks?
It is not great.
We have a fee in our office and most
It
law
is
firms.
disclosed, and it is most law firms have this.
It is the unrepresented fee. If you are unrepresented by an agent, we charge you extra because we're going to have to do so much more work on the education standpoint.
We're just going to have to do more legal work because of it.
We have to do more work, so we have to charge a fee for it because there's that much more work. It can't just be, oh, we're going to do this no matter what.
It is not the same transaction.
It's not the same transaction.
It is not the same transaction when you have a buyer that has an agent and a buyer that doesn't.
Correct.
The times it goes well, the buyer's been an agent and they don't just aren't an agent anymore. Or someone that's bought so many houses and they're retired now and they've got all the time in the world to go chase down vendors and do all those things.
I mean, last house we bought, we used a real estate agent, even though you're a real estate attorney and could probably do it yourself if you really wanted to. If anybody's going to DIY this, it would probably be someone like you.
Well, let me tell you why I don't want to. As someone who intimately understands everything to do with the real estate transaction, I do not want to do all of that stuff because I don't have the time.
Right.
I have a job. And this is what people tell me in closings when they do it themselves. This is almost verbatim what someone told me is if I had known I would be giving myself another full-time job, I would not have done it alone. I would not have done it myself because I had to take time off work so that I could go figure out all this stuff that I had to do, you know, having to be on site for all of this, you know, like
And
if
you're
I
like,
had
yeah, I know. That's
and if
why
I had had
there's
an
people.
agent, I wouldn't have had to take all those days off work. I wouldn't have been researching vendors into the night. I gave myself another full-time job during this process that was already stressful. And that's why I don't want to do it.
Right.
Now, Ryan, what do you think is like the biggest pitfall of trying to do it yourself?
I would say it's kind of a tie between two things. It's time and knowledge. Like, who do I call for a survey? Why do I need a survey? What other things do I need? You see a house you like, then, okay, I know I need to write a contract, right?
This is the biggest thing that we see as a real estate attorney from unrepresented buyers and sellers is the contracts they draft themselves. We'll get contracts all the time that are just like paying $200,000 for this address and closing on so-and-so date. Well, the address is not the legal description. So what they think that address is could include 7 more acres behind it. So the buyer thinks they're buying that plus 7 acres, and the seller is like, well, you only put the address, and you didn't even know the address behind that, so that's not included. And then you get those problems in the title search and all of that stuff. What happens if you terminate? Are you getting any of your deposits back? Those contracts don't say that.
Did they even give a deposit?
Yeah. So all of that stuff gets not thought about. They think, oh, I need an address and a closing date and a price. And unfortunately, that is usually not all you need. Aside from the contracts, they might be overpaying. For a seller, they might be underpaid because they don't actually know what property values are worth out there. You know, like a common thing is like, well, I'll pay you tax value for it. Well, that doesn't mean it's the market value. And some of the things that agents do like ahead of time, you know, their client tells them they want to be able to use it for a rental property. Well, you may not be able to ascertain from your Zillow search whether you can use it for a rental property, and you may not know how to look on the Register of Deeds to see if there's any restrictions allowing you to do it as a rental. Yeah, in theory, a perfectly educated buyer could probably do all this stuff. But the reality is that buyers do not have 100% of the knowledge they need to do this. It's just the reality that it's specialized knowledge. When there are problems in the transaction, which inevitably there will be, I've not encountered a perfect transaction yet. And even if the bumps are very minor, they still happen. And the agents, they've seen so many of these things that they can give wise counsel to their clients to help them understand, this is how we fix this thing, and it's actually not that big of a deal. Or this is a very big deal, and we are at an impasse until we can get XYZ thing done. So a buyer who is trying to do this alone may encounter a problem that's really not that big of a problem and can be easily solved with the right connection or taking the right next step. But they might give up on the deal because of it. Or vice versa, a buyer that's uneducated about the process might have a very big problem that should mean they should not buy this property and think, I don't think that's that big of a deal. Yeah. I don't see the risk, and close on a property that they shouldn't have bought.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's going to be the wild, wild west if people attempt to start doing this themselves.
Every situation is going to be unique, but I think people should value their time, and they should value other people's efforts to have gained knowledge. It's just like any other service you engage. You hire that person because they can provide value to you. They can save you the shortcut of having to learn all of that stuff yourself. And I think buyer's agents, they'll just have to do a really good job of declaring and explaining that value. But my clients have a better experience when they have a good agent on their team. They just do.